Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here today, my name is Audrey, and we're going to be discussing What If, specifically episode 2. I'm doing every other week, so I'm going to briefly touch on episode 1 first, just to show how it compares to this episode, but I absolutely loved this episode. Just before we even get started, it was a great episode. So if you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe. I do 2 videos a week, comic stuff, vlogs, beauty, you name it, I'll do it. But I would love for you to stick around, and if you like this video while you're watching, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, I'm going to briefly touch on episode 1. The first episode that we went into was actually the first Avengers. This was the Captain Carter episode. I did not love that episode. It was basically a whole retelling of the first Avengers movie, just with slight changes, and then also with the appearance of what we believe to be Shumagorath. At the end, the big Cthulhu creature looked a lot like Shumagorath. I just didn't feel like it was very compelling. I don't think the actors did a very good job voice acting. I found myself getting like very bored and distracted for the first one. I think it was just way too rushed. And that is something that I didn't feel like happened with this one, because in the next episode, the one that we're going to be going more in depth with, it's not a complete retelling of Guardians of the Galaxy, which I appreciate, as Guardians of the Galaxy is one of my favorite movies of all time. So that's kind of an overview of the first episode. Didn't love it. Really glad we got back on track for episode 2. So I'm going to go ahead and break that down for you today. The first thing I want to bring up is that people actually know who Star-Lord is in this universe. Korath is like, oh my god, you're the legendary outlaw Star-Lord, whereas in the first one, Peter Quill, or in the Guardians of the Galaxy, Peter Quill is just a big old goofball that nobody really knows, and he calls himself Star-Lord because of his mom, which I do appreciate that connection. So that is kind of lost in this, but it is still pretty cool. And also, T'Challa can call himself Star-Lord since he is Prince of Wakanda. He still has the Black Panther vibranium little notches on his jacket. I'm not sure if they're intentionally vibranium, because he does have a specifically Wakandan vibranium necklace, but he does have little patches of the little triangles that are, you know, when he wears the Black Panther gear, they're on there as well. And his Ravager jacket is purple instead of red. So in this one, Star-Lord gives Yondu the orb. The Ravagers are all good. They're not selling to the highest bidder. They're trying to save the universe like the Guardians. The Ravagers are basically the good guys, the Guardians of this universe. So that was really cool, I thought. Raglan and Taser-face kidnap T'Challa instead of Peter Quill on accident, but they decide to just keep T'Challa just to go around. So they basically screw over Ego, which comes back to haunt Peter Quill later. The biggest thing of this is that T'Challa talked Thanos out of his lifelong plans of genocide, although he still does seem like he wants to go through with it, but it's played off more as a joke, which is terrifying. But he's not actively pursuing the Infinity Stones to wipe out half the planet, or half the universe. T'Challa meets Drax, and then Nebula, who calls him Cha-Cha, which I'm like, oh, they got a little thing? They got a little thing together? What's going on? Nebula looks quite different. She has blonde hair and only one eye enhancement, so her facial enhancements look more similar to like Gamora, but she covers her one eye enhancement. So according to Yondu, Wakanda had been destroyed. That also comes back into play later when we find out that that is not the case, that everybody in Wakanda is still alive, and he was lied to. So he was trying to keep him up in the stars with all the good work he's doing when his father was trying to call him home. T'Chaka was trying to call T'Challa home. After the lack of Thanos being this big bad, the Collector took up that role and is a more like badass version of the Collector rather than this like very aloof, maniacal creature that he is in the movie. I mean, he's still maniacal, but it's like he's kind of goofy in the Guardians films, and this one he's definitely not goofy. He is just a ruthless madman like Thanos was. He also is in control of the Black Order, so we see all the Black Order characters come back, like Cull Obsidian, Ebony Maw, I'm forgetting the lady's name. Corpus Glaive. I can't remember her name. What's her name? She looks better in this because in Infinity War and Endgame she looks like a cartoon character. Or actually she just looks like she's from a PS4 game. That CGI is rough. You see this right now? Oh, you're gonna whack me? Oh, you're gonna whack me? Oh, yes. T'Challa employs the help of Howard the Duck in order to get the, I believe they're called the Embers of Genesis, and they're going to use them to solve world hunger, or universal hunger, which is pretty awesome. You know, it's what every Miss America contestant wants to do. Save the universe. It's actually like the opposite of Thanos' plan. There's a triple cross that takes place by Nebula. So first, a Nebula double crosses T'Challa and the Ravengers to get T'Challa all locked up. Then she breaks them out, and it's a triple cross against the Collector. The Collector has collected a lot more items in this than he has in the film. So there's obviously a lot of big things in the film that are still here that he has collected. So he still has Howard the Duck, he still has Cosmo the Space Dog, he still has a Dark Elf. But in this as well, he has a lot more objects. So he also has Hela's helmet and Necrosword, and also has the a version of the Captain America shield. So seemingly he defeated Captain America, or this shield he just happened to come across maybe in a multiverse. We're not sure as of yet. Nebula saves Thanos in this universe and then ends up calling him Dad later on. So they reconcile a bit, which I don't think is deserved, even if Thanos turns to be not bad, because I wouldn't call him good, but I don't think Nebula would reconcile with him even after the things that he's done. T'Challa takes Cosmo, so he goes off. T'Challa and Yondu go off in the Wakandan ship, takes Cosmo, and then they reunite back in Wakanda. The Ravagers meet the Wakandans. T'Challa is reunited with T'Chaka, and it's a beautiful moment. However, it goes over to Peter Quill, who is working at a Dairy Queen, similar to how we got our other fave, Ant-Man, working at a Baskin-Robbins. So Peter Quill is visited by Ego, and I'm sure Ego's pretty pissed that he was never delivered to him. He looks like he's skipping the formalities, and his eyes are already glowing. Not good. It looks like he's just going to murder him on sight. So really hope Quill can get out of that one. Yeah. This episode was dedicated to Chadwick, and I don't want to get emotional, but it was really good, and I think that I'm excited to see the other 3 episodes he's in, because I think this is a really good send-off for him. He was a really, really great dude, and a really great actor, and he will definitely be missed within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as well as all the films that he was a part of. He played so many influential characters and roles that I think it's going to be a huge loss, and it already has been. But really happy to be able to see him in some light in this. I do want to segue as well, kind of related to that. I think the voice acting in this was way better than the voice acting in the first one. I thought specifically like Karen Gillan and Chadwick Boseman did amazing for voice acting wise, which it's always kind of hard to transition from live acting to voice acting, just because you have to use so much more character within your voice, and you don't get to pick up on subtleties in film acting, because film acting itself is already so much more dumbed down. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's more dumbed down in terms of reactions than like live theater. So I thought that was really, really good. There was a lot of work that they did that I think was absolutely excellent in this episode specifically. One thing to note is that Gamora is completely absent. So seemingly she's taken up either with Thanos' mission, which we kind of see promo footage that would guarantee that that's what's going to happen since she has his armor and his sword, or she's just gone off and is doing her own thing and wants nothing to do with Thanos. But I think it's more likely it's the first option. But it does look like they'll talk Gamora back into sense, since it does appear that the big multiverse villain they're going to be fighting at the end is Ultron in Vision's body with the Infinity Gauntlet. So that will be pretty cool. I'm very excited to get there. I love these characters, so that's probably why this was my favorite so far. I really love the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm nervous for Peter Quill. I hope he can make it out of that, and I hope we do see him more because I genuinely love Peter Quill as well. So that's kind of my wrap up. I really liked this episode. Let me know what you think of the episode down below. If you're like a big Black Panther and Guardians of the Galaxy fan, like let me know what your thoughts are on the episode down below. But I thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on Saturday with a new video. And if you missed my comic entertainment news video, you can watch it back here. I'm frozen. I've mastered the art of invisibility. You can't even see me right now. I'm moving so slowly. Take care, guys. Bye.